Like, if I was actually doing something about it, you know? But there's just other people that will continue to be here, call African men weak when an African man gave birth to you, to call them weak. What are you... if you have sons, how are you raising them differently than the way that, let's say, people of your husband's generation were raised? How are you raising them differently? Because that's the question I have to ask you. If you're going to continuously call African men weak and not realize that you're an extension of African men, so you calling African men weak without looking at yourself, I feel like it's just ridiculous. Like, why do that? You know what I mean? I don't get it. I don't know why all of a sudden they come to America and they have to do all this, like African or this, African or that, when you realize you come from there. Like, I don't get it. Like, does she think that, or do these people think that white Americans look at them any different? Like, they don't. I don't know. Are you getting extra brownie points for... Anyway. I would say if we're talking about Africans in the West know way more about African Americans than vice versa. I would say so. Even Africans in Europe know way more about African Americans than African Americans know about Africans. And that's just facts. African Americans do not know African history. They don't. They may think that they know African history by knowing colonial or independence history. I don't know how many times people have to talk to me about Congo, like what happened in Congo with King Leopold. I'm just like, okay, that's one country. Do you have anything else to say? Like, what happened in Sierra Leone? What happened there? What happened in Guinea-Bissau? What happened in Guinea-Conakry? What happened there? Oh, you don't know exactly because you don't care, and that's fine. Some of us are saying that now, though, that you don't care. It's cool. The face of Black people has a negative connotation because of slavery and degeneracy. I mean, being the face of Black people is cool. I don't think other people are worried about that. You know, no one's mad, by the way, that they're the face of Black people. You know what's really interesting? You'll have other Africans that are even angry that there are other Africans that are the face of... This will never stop. This, oh, you're the face of this, you're the face of that. Who actually cares? Like, it's not doing anything for anyone at this point. Who cares? Like, I literally do not care who's the face of anybody. That's cool. You want to be the face? Because I feel like also being the face of a group of people also means that you hold the most responsibility with that. So I'm actually happy that I'm not the face of Black people. I'm really happy that I'm not, because that would place a lot of pressure on me and myself and my people, and I don't know how we would deal with that. So I'm actually, like, props to people who are the face of Black people in the world. Like, actually, I give them mad props for that. No, that's what I heard here. But not exactly like that, but they helped with the international, what is it? Placing international pressure to end apartheid is basically what they did, which is great. Like, I'm not even gonna sit here and take that away from them, but I mean, that's helping, but that's not doing the work, if that makes sense. I don't believe so. Actually, I lied. No, they didn't. Of course, they didn't. Biafra was so long ago. And you know what's interesting? Biafra goes against everyone's like memory. Like no one wants to take into account that that was very traumatic, and people are still dealing with the effects of that today. No one ever wants to acknowledge that. They always want to say Biafra, oh, that was so long ago. Oh, that wasn't that long. It wasn't that long of a period. Like no one wants to talk about the psychological effects Biafra had. No one wants to talk about how the fact that Biafra has shaped the way that a lot of Igbos feel about the nation of Nigeria. Like everyone downplays Biafra too. A lot of people do that, and it's like just because it didn't happen to you doesn't mean that it's not important. You know, that's one of the things we talk about. Like there are a lot of wars, a lot of civil conflicts. There are a lot of things that happen, even in let's say the 2010s. A lot of conflicts, wars, things that happen, and no one ever wants to talk about that. Like that's not important. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah, well, this 3-year war, get over it. Do you understand the fabrics that a 3-year war can have on a nation, on the trust of tribes? Do you understand that there are people that are living right now that have experienced things that you yourself have not experienced, but you're there talking about it's not a big deal? How can you downplay someone else's misery, say that that's not a big deal? It's dismissive. Hear things. It's I have someone else went through, but whenever I talk about what I went through, no one wants to hear it. No one wants to give props to that. So to me, it's like, okay, let's not be fake then. Let's all not care about what everyone went through. If everyone's going to continue to have that attitude of, oh, whatever happened to you just happened to you only. If everyone's going to feel that way, then let's just be honest and actually feel that way and not pretend that we don't feel that way if that's the case. So I'm just trying to figure out if people actually care about what happened to other Africans, other Black people around the world, or if they're just saying that they do, they actually don't. They think that Africa is one country and the capital is Nigeria. If it's not about I would even be happy if they thought the capital was Nigeria, but I never hear them speak about Nigeria at all. And it's like Nigeria. Listen, we could all make fun of Nigeria, but Nigeria is literally the country. It's the richest country in Africa. It's most GDP, most businesses, most successful. Blah blah blah. Like Nigeria is that girl. Really, it is. Like, don't be mistaken. Nigeria could actually get to the next level. It really can. But it's like they never talk about Nigeria. They always talk about no. They always talk about Egypt. And I'm here to say these are the same people that say Egyptians are not Africans, but you're always talking about ancient Egyptian. So I'm just like, which one is it? Like, I'm that honest. You don't understand how much that confuses me when you're like, oh, the modern day Egyptians are not Black, but they're always talking about ancient Egyptian history, but they never want to talk about anything that happened in Nigeria, which would be more, I guess, relevance. This is very interesting. And then when some of them do talk about Nigeria, they only want to focus. Anyways, I'll just be quiet for now. Africans need to do a better job. Like Africans, dear Africans, I don't know why some of you guys are like this, but you guys need to do a better job because I'm starting to notice that a lot of you guys don't know about your own people. You don't know about your own history, which is why you feel so low about yourself. This is bad. This is very, very bad. Like, we live in 2022, we're going to 2023. Read a book, go to a library, figure out what your people did, figure out more about just colonization, or independence. Like, really, be one with yourself and get to know yourself, because this is really bad. I agree with you. Some Africans care more about jollof and Afrobeat. I'm a piano history. This is a problem. This is a huge problem. I get it. You know, you'll have people be like, oh, it's the government's job to do a better job. No, well, yes, it is, but it's also I feel like now we know better. You know, we know better. We can have better access to these type of things. If you want to know this knowledge, you can easily find it. You know, speak to your does anybody here speak to your grandparents? Because I speak to my grandparents and I get some information that I would not be able to get anything anywhere else. Speak to older people. Just get to know about things. Stop always caring about the way that you look, or about food or music. Like, just be culturally advanced, you know, be aware of these type of things. They don't care about that. It's really sad. It's just so sad, man. I actually changed the name of my stream because there are some Africans that got angry at the title of the stream, so I had to change it. It's the victim Olympic mindset. I'm tired of hearing. Oh my god, stop it. Stop. I mean, I'm not tired.